ICE agents are now free to do sweeping stops around Los Angeles after the Supreme Court this week overruled a California district judge, prompting this reaction from LA Mayor Karen Bass.
From the beginning, we have known that Los Angeles has been used as a test case for total dominance and unchecked power by the federal government. The rule of law used to mean something, not just to us, but to the Supreme Court. But now, with the stroke of a pen, the Supreme Court has undermined the rights of millions.
I'm joined by University of Michigan Law School professor, host of the Strict Scrutiny podcast, and author of New York Times bestseller, Lawless: How the Supreme Court Runs on Conservative Grievance, Fringe Theories, and Bad Vibes. Leah Littman joins me. Good to see you back here on the show. So the court sided with the Trump administration in an emergency ruling 18 times so far this year. First of all, explain what an emergency ruling entails and put 18 times into context. Is that an average amount, a normal amount?
So an emergency ruling refers to the kind of relief that the Supreme Court grants on what's known as the shadow docket, basically the set of orders and decisions it releases without oral argument, without full briefing, and sometimes without any explanation at all, including in the most recent Los Angeles case involving immigration enforcement. The idea that the Trump administration now has an 18-case unbroken winning streak is, I think, the best encapsulation of how this court keeps granting the president and this administration an ever-expanding set of powers, even as this administration and this president illustrates how they are keen to abuse those powers. I mean, this week alone, we had the president threatening to retaliate against the left instead of turning the temperature down amidst, recent mass shootings and political violence. So it is really unprecedented for an administration to have this kind of winning streak at the court.
So Justice Sonia Sotomayor disagreed with the court decision, issuing a scathing dissent and discussing her opinion on The View this week. Take a listen.
That's what's at risk, is in each time we change precedent, we are changing the contours of a right that people thought they had. And once you take that away, think of how much more is at risk later, not just in this situation.
I mean, is that how you see it? What are those risks of a decision like this that she's referencing?
I think the stakes of this particular case are immense. It's about the Fourth Amendment, which protects the right of the people to be secure in their persons. It says that right shall not be violated. And what the Supreme Court did in this case, it paused a lower court decision that had prevented the government from infringing on that liberty, from stopping people from questioning them on the basis of their skin color, what kind of job they had, what kind of accent they spoke with. So basically now the upshot is you don't actually have a right to be secure in your person if you look a certain way, or you speak a certain way, or you hang out at a Home Depot or other locations. I think the implications of that are stunning, given that we have all seen how these roving patrols and ICE raids are playing out. Just this last week, a man was killed by, an ICE officer in Chicago. We've seen the videos of citizens being, thrown out of their cars by ICE agents with guns or thrown against walls. So these are the sort of liberties on our freedoms that the Supreme Court has now blessed, and we don't know why.
So despite concerns from a district court judge, Justice Amy Coney Barrett had this to say about concerns that the Supreme Court is bending constitutional law. Here's that.
I think the Constitution is alive and well, and I think that I don't know what a constitutional crisis would look like. I don't think that we are currently in a constitutional crisis, however. I mean, I think that our country remains committed to the rule of law. I think we have functioning courts. I think a constitutional crisis, we would clearly be in one if the rule of law crumbled, but that is not the place where we are.
So does the Supreme Court's ruling in L.A., does it violate the Fourth Amendment, which, again, to remind people, it protects people from unreasonable searches? It requires probable cause warrants. Or does their emergency ruling stand on some different principle?
I I mean, it could stand on some different principle. We just don't know what that principle is. You know, the only justice who deigned to explain it was Justice Kavanaugh, who wrote only for himself. He did suggest that these practices, including racial profiling, were consistent with the Fourth Amendment. But he also suggested that these plaintiffs had failed to demonstrate what's called standing. That is, they didn't show it was sufficiently likely that they would be injured by being swept up in one of these immigration raids. I think that makes challenging these unlawful practices near prohibitively difficult. And to Justice Barrett, who thinks the rule of law is alive and well, I just say, I mean, tell that to the citizen or the person who is here with legal authorization, or the non-citizen who is seized off the street on the basis of their skin color and shoved into one of these immigration processing facilities until they prove to the satisfaction of an immigration officer that they are indeed legally present here. That is not liberty in our persons.
So, Leah, new polling shows half the country holds an unfavorable view of the Supreme Court. That is a near historic low. Is this likely to change anytime soon, given wide interpretation that the court is just rubber stamping Trump's actions? And by the way, is that a fair position?
I don't think that opinion is going to change anytime soon, in part because I don't think the court is going to start doing anything different. You have Justices Barrett and Kavanaugh and others defending their practices on the shadow docket, issuing these emergency orders with zero explanation, time and time again, greenlighting different things that the Trump administration is doing. I do think this is a fair assessment of the Supreme Court. And it's not just the public that holds this opinion. It's lower federal court judges as well, who have been speaking to reporters on background, like Lawrence Hurley at NBC, who have been writing into their opinions, who have been saying at oral argument, Supreme Court, you need to give us reasons. This is not how our judicial system works. There needs to be an explanation to the public about why you are reaching the conclusions that you are. And without that, they are doing further damage to their own legitimacy and position.
Troubling. Okay, Leah Littman, thank you so much.